If change were easy, we'd all be skinny, rich, and popular with the love of our life. But it's not. Change and success is not generally easy. If you're tired of being overweight, broke, or lonely, then listen close and I will share with you the easiest way to make the hardest change in your life. My name is Andrea Brown. This is Thrival Now, a new YouTube channel where I'm committed to helping you go from survival to thrival in your health, wealth, and relationships. Quick story. Young man, 30 years old, decides to do one push-up a day. Through a series of events, he'd been overweight, out of shape, wanted to get fitter, had never been able to keep this in, to sustain any sort of change or physical activity in his life. And so that particular day, in desiring to make change, he couldn't even bear to get down and do any sort of physical activity or workout routine, although he greatly wanted to work out. But somehow he tricked himself into doing just one push-up. That one push-up led to a few more, 10 or 20, led to a few sit-ups, led to a few jumping jacks, and before he knew it, he'd put in a 30-minute solid workout. Patting himself on the back, he took stock of the situation and realized that he was more or less able to fool himself into doing a whole lot more by taking a very small baby step. And so he decided to commit to doing one push-up a day. That decision totally changed his life, he says, although that sounds very dramatic. But he went on to do that and keep his word to himself. I think except for 2 days in the first 6 months that he did not even do one push-up, he acknowledged he at least kept that commitment. Many days he just did one push-up. One particular night, I think it was close to midnight, and he was laying in bed. He said he was too lazy to even do that push-up and get down on the ground and do it. But he rolled over in bed, and he did the push-up, but did it in bed. But he found that the positive spiral was that he many days ended up doing a short workout, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then there was other days where he would do much longer workouts, and it affected his life in a lot of other ways. 6 months into it, he realized exercise no longer repulsed him, and so he decided to get a gym membership. At that point, he realized this incredible strategy had affected his life in a really positive way, and he decided to apply it in 2 other areas. He decided to begin to read 2 pages out of a book each day and write 50 words every day. 6 months later, about a year from the day that he started this, he published his first book. And that book was titled Mini Habits, and the young man was named Stephen Guise. Why do I purport that the easiest way to make the hardest change is through a mini habit? Well, they say it takes 28 days to make a habit, or 21 days. The fact is, you can make a habit very quickly. Usually it involves a whole lot of pain or a whole lot of pleasure. Thus, we know of addictive drugs. We also know of learning to not put your hand on a hot stove by putting your hand on a hot stove. That pain is a quick learning motivator. But when we don't have pain or pleasure immediately to create the intensity of motivation, the only other recourse we have is our free will, or simply the option to make a decision to change our life at any point. The hard part is decision making is very difficult for most people, and more notable is decision keeping is even harder. So making a decision, not too hard, but keeping that decision is very hard. The idea of compound interest is something that most people are aware of, but the idea of compound effort is not something so well known, and I believe that many habits tap into this incredible concept of compounding effort. We recognize that to make change, it takes a lot of time and energy, work and effort, and it has to be sustained over the long haul. There has to be great consistency in that change, in that effort, and in that time investment. When we make a small, minute adjustment, most of us don't recognize that incredible power of that compounding time and effort over the long period. Think of a pilot who sets a course. They might change that course half a degree, 1 degree, and it's not notable until they've traveled 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 miles to the other side of the country. And at that point, you could land in an entirely new city. And we all know this cognitively, but how do we know this experientially? If you want to make change in the easiest way in your life, make change in the area that you've struggled the most, the easiest way to do it is through a mini habit. The key to making change with that mini habit, though, is that it has to be as simple as the way Stephen did it in choosing to do 1 push-up a day, write 30 or 50 words a day, or read 1 or 2 pages a day. You have to be able to keep that commitment to yourself on your worst day so that you become unstoppable. The incredible benefits of mini habits are that you are building upon success every day. There's no guilt and condemnation for missing days or not doing it. Because the commitment is so minuscule, if you keep that commitment to yourself, you're building on a solid foundation to make change. And many days you will do significantly more than you said you would. So today, I encourage you to decide on a mini habit. Make a decision right this very moment. Press pause, press stop, make a decision, text it to yourself on the phone, and subscribe to this channel so that I can fuel your journey in your transformation.